How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another Bitcoin update. We got a super strong close. We've been waiting for this moment for many months on the channel here. It's all been about this 886 level, 104.6k. We've just been rounding up to 105, but there's also this wick we created over the past couple of weeks, 105.7k. If you've been following along with the channel, or you've come from my last Bitcoin update, you'd know that this is a 1k area of resistance, and now that the daily candle close was above the macro 886, if we zoom out to the weekly, this would actually suggest, although we haven't got a weekly close confirming it as support just yet, we've had a weekly close above it, but let's actually see it confirmed at the end of this week. The main reason why I came to this time frame in the first place was to show that on the daily, having broken and confirmed the 886 as support, these targets I've been talking about on the channel now do become valid. So I am now expecting 120, 140, 160k. Of course, there is criteria. It needs to stay on a certain path, which I'll go through with you guys. So at the moment, even though we've got the close above the macro 886, it just never is as simple as that. It never is just reliant on just one signal. So over here at 105.7k, you can see, I'm not going to zoom in more than this, it's close enough, but for those that can't really see here, it closed under 105.7k. So even with such a strong close, fulfilling the criteria we set months ago, close above the 886, that's the moment we're waiting for. It did so the day before. Yesterday, it actually closed above it, confirming it as support. This is what we need to see. Why are we not out of the woods just yet? It's because before breaking out of this level, you can see there was initially a breakout right there a couple of weeks back, a week or two back, and there was a wick set. So that is the high we need to break, 104.9. We've seen, of course, it close above, but a couple of days after that breakout, not only did we fall back under, but there was another attempt at breaking this high, in which it did, and it set a new resistance, 105.7k. Like, this is a new resistance, but I'm more focused on the closer one here. We can discuss that after. So because we didn't unfortunately break through here, it's a bearish signal, so we just reversed back into support. The 786, as you can see, acted as support, and if you've been following the channel, I was saying that and the Twitter as well, I mentioned it on Twitter, if Bitcoin stays above 100k, then we should eventually see this resistance break. So it came down to 100k, eventually broke that resistance, so pretty much exactly what we're saying. Had it even come down lower, same thing again, stays above 100k, could have come down into there. The 20 EMAs right there, so it would have acted as support. It didn't even manage to close under the 6 or the 12 with yesterday's candle, and managed to recover all of them, including the 886. So for a long while yesterday, it spent majority of the time underneath this 886 fib. So that would basically mean the breakout before would of course be false only with the daily candle close. So you have to always wait for the daily close. Then it actually confirmed 104k, 104.6, the 886 as support. But this now becomes resistance because we didn't close above it. So that's why we're starting to see negative candlestick patterns forming already. So this would be a shooting star. It's usually a top signal or just a short-term reversal. This has been in an uptrend since 74k, so it's just appearing in an uptrend, so it could just be a local top and then coming back to test key levels of support. Now that we've broken above the 886 fib, that is now support. So personally, I would rather Bitcoin start reversing. Like right now, it needs to reverse today and close the candle above 105.7k, all in today's daily candle for the daily candle close. The reason being, if it fails to do that, you're confirming this bearish signal. And I did make you aware of some altcoins over the past day that are just waiting for a signal from Bitcoin. So you see that over the past couple of weeks, a coin like Ondo broke out and recovered all moving averages. So that would suggest it should of course at least continue to the target out of the pattern where it saw previous macro support and resistance. That's how we got this capitulation. It was losing that macro support, flipping the base into the top, and then of course once we had met the target, reversal pattern with the lows shifting from lower lows into higher lows, neckline breakout. If you want to learn this, use the links down below, head over to the website or join the Discord community for more content. You can ask me to do TA on anything as well, and I do host a live Q&As in there. But essentially maintaining this, breaking out the 200 EMA, that is its target. That is where it should be going to. In fact, that's where it should get rejected from, because after meeting a target, a pattern's target, there's no further expectation. Also, it being where it capitulated from, that's where it's going to struggle. So I wouldn't be expecting this struggle to come just after breaking out through the 200 EMA. Not only that, when it came back for support, you can see there was a new high set, but that candle never closed above this highest green one's wick, so we didn't get that continuation. This was the breakout candle. I mark out the wick of that. When it comes back for support, great, it maintained. Now let's continue, but it did not continue, and this is where it all went wrong. We need to close above that for it to be bullish. That's no longer bullish. There's only one other direction it can go, down. And so I would expect after a breakout like that, especially with how high Bitcoin is in comparison to its all-time high, for a coin like Ondo, multi-billion-dollar market cap, for it to maintain the moving averages after a breakout, right? And no, it just did not. So although it's still got a lot of support here, again, it's just waiting on a signal from Bitcoin. But if Bitcoin decides to go down from here, lose 104k, lose 100k, then you're going to see the rest of the altcoin market coming down. So if we head back over to the Bitcoin chart, it's just hovering around there. There is also another altcoin I'm interested in, which is called, I'll just have to type it in. It's in the similar boat. Like, it's had an incredible pump. It's coming back into macro resistance. There's somewhat of a neckline for a head and shoulders, in this area. So there's been tests here and here. I know this is just a rough line. It's not hitting it all exactly, but you can, if you draw a nice little trend line, just like this. So you can see previous support, resistance right there, resistance right there. So you could argue that it's waiting for Bitcoin. It's lost its momentum. It's rounding off. It's making a rounding top. This looking like a top formation, like this area, like this area, like this area. We could argue like this. All of these tops, it's rounding off. All you can actually see is that there's a lot of bullish momentum. It pretty much died off. Unexpected resistance previously, the neckline, actually when it was retested as resistance, brang this capitulation. Now it's recovering. You could argue even if it does reject, it should be a higher low, maybe forming the inverse of the bearish, so an inverse head and shoulders pattern if we do see a rejection here. So that would of course happen with Bitcoin, but it's got the setup there. Equally, you could just argue this is a bull flag and we're looking for continuation, right? It's just dependent on Bitcoin, of course. So stay tuned with my Bitcoin updates daily. We did get a significant breakout, which suggests as long as it can maintain 104k, and we actually see, let's now see the weekly candle close, as it's now come down to test it in the last day, being on a Monday, opening the weekly candle, we've dumped. Usually we go the opposite way first, so you could argue it's retesting for support to continue high. So if we get that weekly candle close, that actually confirms it's a support, guys. Oh my gosh, I'll be getting super excited once again. So yeah, exciting times up ahead, but again, still maintaining caution in this area. I've been right in doing so because we've seen multiple fake outs on the lower time frames at this significant area. We can look at the specific 886 fib 104.6k. There have been multiple closes above and back under, a lot in the last couple of days, and we actually can also identify this on the daily time frame as well. So that's it from me today. As long as the daily can now reverse, I don't want this shooting star to form, so we need it to close back above 105.7k. Make sure that the weekly candle close is above the 886, and we're good to go to a new all-time high with targets up as high as 120, 140, and 160k. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to get educated to learn to do this yourself, or just want further exclusive content and want access to live streams where you can answer any questions that you have, check out the links in the description. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment and share, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.